Last week, I put out a video titled "The Ninjabike Backpack is Ruining Your Build," in which I demonstrated that for one player's Ninjabike build, the Memento backpack delivered comparable skills, survivability, but significantly better damage output. The reaction to this video was heated to say the least, and suddenly I felt as popular as Marjorie Taylor Greene at the Jewish Space Laser Convention. Viewers told me that I was killing build diversity, that I was saying that the Memento was the only backpack to use, that I had the sheer fucking audacity to suggest that a build was losing $500,000 of DPS with no added benefits through using the Ninjabike, and then proved it with data. But most of all, that I used the word ruined to then describe it. But the real point of the video was to highlight that it is important to think not just about the attributes that you are gaining with the Ninjabike, but also to look at what you are missing out on, and that has nothing to do with diversity at all. Now, to be fair, I could have looked at a few more examples. Well, thankfully, viewers were keen to tell me all about their Ninjabike builds. And the first build to be roasted is a true Patriot one. The true Patriot gear set is best suited for a support role in groups. Shooting an enemy for 6 seconds amplifies the damage it takes by 8% from all sources, delivers 2% armor regeneration to any agent attacking it, and reduces the damage the enemy deals by 8%. Enemies that die with full stacks explode, dealing damage equal to their health and armor. So the only way to really think about a true Patriot build is in terms of what it brings to the team. So how should we improve this support build? Using the Ninjabike to gain a 50% increased magazine size is the wrong choice because this only benefits the player. It is also a bad use of the Ninjabike because the build is only getting one additional attribute from the brand sets, which is a poor return. Think of the Ninjabike as a Swiss Army knife. You want it to have as many tools as possible, but this build is a Swiss Army knife with just the attachment that no one knows what it is for. 10 elbows is also not the weapon to use with this, as you are only gaining 35 rounds on a weapon with a very quick reload speed anyway. What I would do is run the setup backpack. This comes with the talent Perfectly Opportunistic, which adds 15% amplified damage to you and your entire team. Combine this with the Scorpio shotgun, which at max stacks adds a further 20% amplified damage. If 43% amplified damage to the team does not make you the most popular person on the server, nothing will. It might even get you laid. I would also be tempted to swap out the true Patriot chest piece for something like Point Man, which comes with perfect vanguard and buffs your team's armor by 50%, or Everyday Carrier, which comes with perfectly efficient, which when coupled with a survivalist specialization makes you a combat medic as well. Setting up a true Patriot build for group play is very different to how the build would be set up for solo play, where the best setup is don't use it. For solo players, this gear set is a poor man's heartbreaker, which deals better damage and has a ton of bonus armor, making it an all-round better option. But if you are set on creating a true Patriot solo build, then how should you set it up? Well, I would go with a Feminist chest with Obliterate and a Grupo backpack with Vigilance. This combination will work well with St. Elmo's and a shield. This will nearly double your damage output compared to the Ninjabike build. On top of that, the Crusader shield will still have over 4 million health, which is strong enough for any content. This is a much more effective solo build, which will kill enemies so quickly that you won't need the extra 35 bullets. You could also use the Memento, which at full stacks will deal 40% more damage than the Ninjabike build, and the shield will be even stronger with 6.3 million health. Are these suggestions killing build diversity? Well, the answer is no, because adding 35 rounds to a weapon which already has 91 rounds is not more diverse. If anything, it is like driving a flashy red sports car, compensating for something else at best. And the diversity comes from running a support build in the first place. Before I go on, if you do have a Ninjabike build that you would like me to look at, then let me know in the comments below. Maybe, just maybe, it will be the one where I say that Ninjabike is the best option.
Help me help you.
The second Ninjabike build uses the Negotiators Dilemma, which is a great gear set and is actually one I would recommend if you want to try solo legendary content. That, and the sponsor of today's video, Better Health. This gear set lets a solo player deal AoE damage, mark up to 3 enemies, 5 with the chest piece, by dealing critical hits to them. 60% of critical hit damage dealt to a marked enemy is also dealt to other marked enemies. Using St. Elmo's with this gear set is a great option due to its 20% critical hit chance and critical hit damage mods. The player is also using Bakaro's holster and one piece of Lengmo for the explosive resistance. In legendary content, grenade throwing tanks are a real pain, and I'm not going to knock someone for wanting some protection from that. The Ninjabike backpack is adding 1 skill tier and 25% skill health, which means that the build can run a Crusader shield with a very impressive 5.9 million health. I'm going to pause here because I'm actually really impressed with the shield's health, and it's given me some ideas for different builds. Back to the roast though, because there is one thing that this build is missing out on that is a complete game changer. The Negotiators Dilemma backpack comes with the talent Critical Measures. This talent increases the critical damage dealt to other marked enemies from 60% to 100%. That is a massive increase in your potential damage output. So my suggestion would be to swap out the Ninjabike for the gear set backpack and add a second piece of Lengmo instead of Bakaro's holster. Also, to keep the build consistent with the fundamentals of the original, let's roll one piece of the gear set to an armor core, the reason for which will become apparent shortly. While this build deals 30,000 less each critical hit to a single target than the Ninjabike version, it deals 108,000 more when 2 enemies are marked, rising to over 500,000 damage more each critical hit when 5 enemies are marked, a massive 37% increase in damage output. And because we took that extra armor core, the shield will still have 4.2 million health, which is more than enough for most content. These changes do not change the fundamentals of the build, they actually enhance them. Personally, I think that such a big damage increase with more than enough survivability cannot be overlooked, because killing enemies quickly is the best survivability you can have.